When Dandapani left the world of engineering to become a Hindu monk, one of the first lessons he received was not about religion or ritual, but about understanding the mind. His guru taught him that the mind is not something to be feared, fought, or silenced, but something to be understood, trained, and directed with precision. For most people, the mind is like an untamed river, constantly flowing toward whatever stimuli it encounters. It leaps from one thought to another, one emotion to another, one desire to another. But for those who learn to understand it, the mind becomes the most powerful instrument in existence, capable of creating extraordinary focus, peace, and purpose. Dandapani often says that you cannot focus on something you do not understand. If you do not understand how the mind works, you cannot hope to control it, and if you cannot control it, you cannot focus it. Focus is not an accidental state or a rare gift. It is a skill, built through training and awareness. To control your mind, therefore, begins with studying it, with observing its nature as though you were watching a wild animal in its natural habitat. The goal is not to suppress it, but to learn its rhythms, tendencies, and triggers, so that you may eventually guide it consciously instead of being dragged by it unconsciously. At the heart of Dandapani's teaching lies a simple yet profound model of the mind and awareness. He describes awareness as a glowing ball of light, an orb that can move freely through the vast landscape of the mind. The mind itself, he says, is enormous, filled with countless regions: anger, joy, jealousy, art, compassion, fear, love, hunger, sexuality, curiosity, peace. Awareness is like a traveler who can visit any of these regions. When awareness moves into a certain area, that part of the mind lights up, and you experience it consciously. When awareness travels to anger, you feel angry. When it travels to joy, you feel joyful. The mind, therefore, contains everything. Your experience depends on where your awareness chooses to dwell. Most people, however, never learn to control this movement of awareness. Their awareness is pulled by external forces all day long: notifications, conversations, desires, fears, memories, and distractions. Each moment, awareness is hijacked and carried to another part of the mind, leaving them exhausted and unfocused. To live like this is to be a slave to distraction, and Dandapani reminds us that this has become the modern condition. We spend our days practicing distraction so relentlessly that we have become experts at it. According to the law of practice, whatever you practice, you become good at. If you practice complaining, you become good at complaining. If you practice focusing, you become good at focusing. And if you practice distraction, which most people do from morning till night, you become exceptionally skilled at being distracted. The antidote is conscious training of awareness. When you learn to move your awareness deliberately and keep it where you want it, you begin to take charge of the mind. Concentration, Dandapani says, is the ability to keep awareness on one thing for an extended period of time. That is all it is, not mystical, not complex, but a discipline of persistence. When your awareness drifts, you bring it back gently, and each time you do, you strengthen that mental muscle. This is the monk's daily training. Over time, the ability to hold awareness on one thing becomes effortless, and with it comes an extraordinary sense of calm and power. Modern life, however, conspires against this practice. The world rewards constant engagement, multitasking, and noise. People boast about being busy as though it were a badge of honor. But busyness is not productivity. It is fragmentation. Dandapani says that when people tell him life is too busy to simplify, he reminds them that it is not that they cannot. It is that they do not want to. Everyone has the power to choose where they place their attention, energy, and time. Nobody forces you to attend every meeting, answer every notification, or be available 24 hours a day. These are choices, and each one drains your finite supply of energy. He compares energy to money, a finite resource that must be managed wisely. You wake up each day with a certain amount of energy, just as you would begin with a certain amount of money in your account. How you spend it determines your quality of life. The law of thermodynamics reminds us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or transformed. This means you cannot generate infinite energy through wishful thinking. You can only redirect it. At the end of the day, when you are exhausted, it is because you have spent your energy, perhaps carelessly. Just as you would not invest your money in ventures that yield no return, you should not invest your energy in people, tasks, or thoughts that deplete you without purpose. Focus, therefore, becomes a matter of energetic investment. Where your awareness goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, your life grows. If your awareness constantly moves to worry, frustration, or distraction, then those areas of your life will flourish, not in good ways but through reinforcement. But if your awareness repeatedly rests on gratitude, learning, compassion, or purposeful work, those qualities expand. This is the true art of manifestation, stripped of mysticism. Energy follows attention. Technology, Dandapani observes, is often blamed for our lack of focus, but he disagrees that it is inherently bad. Technology is neutral. It amplifies whatever intention you bring to it. A smartphone does not control you unless you surrender control to it. Every time your phone beeps and you instantly respond, you train yourself to be reactive. You train awareness to scatter. But if you use your phone deliberately, to create, to learn, to connect with purpose, it becomes a tool of empowerment rather than enslavement. The difference is mastery. Either you master technology or it masters you. The same principle applies to all of life. The mind is only your servant if you train it. Otherwise, it becomes your master. Learning to control the mind begins with small, practical acts of awareness. Dandapani teaches that daily life is the best monastery. You do not need a cave or a temple to train concentration. You need only the willingness to do one thing at a time. When you speak to someone, keep your awareness entirely on them. When it drifts, gently bring it back. When you eat, just eat, taste, chew, experience. When you walk, just walk. Feel the movement, the rhythm, the breath. In this way, every action becomes meditation. Each moment of focus strengthens awareness like a muscle. If you live with a partner or family, they become your best teachers of concentration. When you talk to your spouse, give them your undivided attention. When awareness drifts to your phone or your plans, bring it back. The act of returning awareness again and again is the essence of practice. Parents often ask Dandapani how to teach their children to concentrate, and he reminds them that the only way is to lead by example. Children learn by imitation, not instruction. If you cannot focus, your child will not learn to focus. If you are constantly distracted, your child will mirror distraction. The discipline must begin with you. Over time, the ability to concentrate transforms every aspect of life. Work becomes deeper, relationships become richer, creativity flourishes. You find yourself less reactive, more deliberate, and more joyful. The mind, once scattered, now becomes a laser. And because energy follows awareness, this focused energy begins to manifest powerful results. Life becomes not a chaotic series of events, but a deliberate creation. You realize that mastery of the mind is mastery of destiny. Controlling the mind also requires understanding its tendency toward habit. The mind loves routine because it conserves energy. It will repeat any pattern you allow, whether helpful or harmful. Therefore, awareness must not only focus, but also observe. It must watch for unconscious loops, the repetitive thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that consume energy without growth. Each time you notice a pattern and choose differently, you reclaim energy that was being wasted. Over time, this self-observation creates freedom. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop being a victim of conditioning and become a conscious creator of thought. Another key aspect of Dandapani's teaching is the relationship between energy and people. Every relationship is an exchange of energy. When you spend time with someone, you are not just sharing words. You are investing energy into that interaction. Therefore, you must choose relationships wisely. If a person consistently drains your energy through negativity or chaos, that is a poor investment. If a person uplifts you, inspires you, or helps you expand, that is a worthy investment. Just as in finance, diversification without purpose leads to loss. Focus your emotional energy on relationships that align with your values and growth. To manage energy effectively, Dandapani recommends clarity of priorities. Know what truly matters to you and allocate energy accordingly. Every yes you give is a no to something else. Saying yes to meaningless engagements, endless scrolling, or unaligned projects is saying no to your peace, your family, or your spiritual development. This is not selfishness. It is stewardship. You cannot pour from an empty cup. By mastering where energy goes, you reclaim your power to live consciously. At the core of this method lies consistency. Controlling the mind is not achieved in a weekend retreat or a few hours of meditation. It is the daily, patient repetition of bringing awareness back, again and again. The monks call this tapas, sustained discipline. Tapas generates inner heat, the transformative energy that burns away distraction and weakness. Each moment of practice strengthens neural pathways associated with focus. Modern neuroscience now confirms what monks have known for centuries. The brain rewires itself through repetition. Every act of attention builds mental structure. To deepen this process, one must also practice detachment. Detachment does not mean withdrawal from life. It means freedom from compulsion. When awareness is attached to outcomes, it oscillates between hope and fear. When awareness is detached, it remains steady regardless of circumstance. Detachment allows you to direct energy toward the process rather than the result. You work not to achieve but to express mastery. Ironically, this detachment amplifies success because it removes resistance. The mind becomes clear and energy flows unobstructed. Dandapani also emphasizes the power of intention. Every thought and action should be preceded by conscious intention. Before you begin your day, set an intention for where awareness will go. Before a meeting, before eating, before using your phone, decide how you will direct energy. Intention aligns the mind with purpose and prevents it from drifting into unconscious reactivity. Over time, this creates an extraordinary sense of agency. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up deciding what you will bring to the day. Meditation in Dandapani's system is not escapism, but rehearsal. It is the training ground for awareness. When you sit to meditate, you practice moving awareness consciously, perhaps to the breath, to a mantra, or to a visualization, and when it drifts, you bring it back. The skill you build there is then applied throughout the day. Meditation strengthens your control of awareness, and daily life tests it. Both are essential. The monk's goal is not to remain peaceful in meditation alone, but to maintain that centeredness in the chaos of life. This approach also demands patience. The modern mind craves instant results, but mastery unfolds gradually. The neural and energetic systems of focus must be trained as surely as muscles in the body. At first, the mind will rebel. It will wander, resist, distract, and rationalize. But persistence rewires habit. Each return of awareness is a victory. Over months and years, this discipline becomes effortless, and peace becomes your natural state. Dandapani teaches that the ultimate reward of controlling the mind is self-realization. When awareness becomes steady, you begin to experience the deeper self that observes the mind. You realize that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your memories. You are the awareness that witnesses them. In that realization lies freedom from suffering, because suffering exists only when awareness is trapped in painful regions of the mind. When awareness is free, joy arises naturally, independent of circumstances. In a world of constant noise, the mastery of awareness becomes revolutionary. To sit in stillness, to focus on one task, to listen fully to another human being, these acts become sacred. They cut through the fog of distraction that numbs modern life. They return you to the simplicity of being present, and from presence flows creativity, clarity, and love. Dandapani often concludes his talks by reminding people that spirituality is not about escaping life but mastering it. To control the mind is to live deliberately, to direct energy toward what matters, and to bring meaning into every act. When you control the mind, you control your destiny. When you lose control of the mind, you lose yourself in the chaos of others. Ultimately, his method is not a philosophy to be admired, but a practice to be lived. Learn how your mind works. Train awareness like a muscle. Invest your energy wisely. Do one thing at a time. Choose your relationships with intention. Set your focus like a laser and return to it whenever it drifts. Over time, this discipline becomes the foundation for everything else: peace, love, creativity, and success. The mind, once tamed, becomes your greatest ally. It serves your purpose rather than sabotaging it. Life, once chaotic, becomes harmonious because you finally understand the law that governs it. Where your awareness goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, your life grows. The journey is not about controlling the world outside you. It is about mastering the world within you. And when you do, you discover what Dandapani calls the greatest secret of all, that happiness, focus, and fulfillment were never out there to be found. They were always waiting in the quiet center of your own awareness, patiently calling you home.